Hello, Sizzy Chocolate here. Right, today I am going to be doing a little demonstration of how I did this background. I put up a blog post where I explained how I did everything on here, and I've had a lady, Wendy, has asked if I could show how the background was done with the embossing powder. So that's what I am going to be doing today. And so that's this one was in sort of greeny colours. I'm not sure if I'm going to use greens or blues or a mixture of both today, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, this is for Wendy and for anybody else who wants to know how to make this gorgeous background of, it looks almost like enamel or crystal, or but it is just built up with layers and layers of embossing powder. Anyway, let's have a look and see how you can use your embossing powders in a different way other than using on sentiments. So here we go. So let's pop that away. And so I have got another little heart. So this is a little chipboard heart, probably 3 mils, I think they are. It's about 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, lays in the palm of my hand there like that. So it's not a huge area to cover. But to start off with, we're going to put a covering of acrylic paint. And so with just a little paintbrush, we're just going to do a few layers. I've got a wet wipe and I've got a dry wipe. I've got lots of my embossing powders and I've got my heat gun. So we're all prepared to go. And so I'm just going to do a couple of generous coats of this acrylic paint. It really helps to, if you're not working on something that is already white, it does help to give it a coating of something white, whether you're using inks or whether you're using gesso or paint, or like this acrylic paint, just so that you get the white through the background when you're doing, because a lot of the embossing is going to be almost see-through, so you can see the white through there. So you can imagine if this was grey, that if I'd left it grey, it would have looked a little bit, not so good. But you can have whatever colour you want showing through your embossing powders. That's not an issue. I've just painted my whole thing white on the front and the back. It doesn't take very long to dry, only takes a couple of minutes, and you can give it a little swoosh along with your heat gun if you want to. But I'm just going to go around all of this, and then once that's done, we'll start doing the embossing. So I'll just speed up the video while I do this, and then we can get on. So that's that done, and a nice solid coat of white there. When it's just cooled off and it's a bit cold, I'll just take the edge off of there with either a file or a little knife. I just got a little rim, I don't want that there. So that will come off, but that's that's lovely and coated now. So I'm just going to clean up, and then I'll be back and we'll do the embossing. So here we are back, we're all cleaned up. Acrylic paint cleans off really easily with a little bit of water, so I've got a water spray I've just cleaned my mat with, and my dry wipe, and I've been and washed my hands, and it comes off really easily, so don't worry about getting a bit messy. So this is what we're going to do. So this is the next stage. We're now going to do this lovely green back layer on this nicely painted and totally dry little piece of grey board. So I have got some Versamark, which is just a clear sticky ink. You can use any type of embossing ink. You can use whatever you've got. It doesn't have to be Versamark. It can be Wow or any of the other makes. I know there's lots of companies now who make this clear sticky ink, but make sure it's a good quality. That's all I'd say. And so I'm going to cover it, stamp over and cover the whole of the surface. And so I can see that it is all glistening with the sticky ink. Okay, so that's that bit. I think I'm just going to get a piece of paper. Just bear with me while I get a piece of scrap. I'll find a clean piece. Right, so I'm just going to sit that on here so that we can tip the embossing powders off. So I have got a number of different colours now. In this green one here, I used this Wow Primary Beautiful as the base colour, and then I added in some green. That was quite a big crystal like that. Here we are, here it is. It was that one, but I'm not going to use that today. I was thinking of mixing it with some blues and see how it came out with some blues. So I've got some blue glitter. That's just ordinary glitter. That's not embossing, glitzy embossing powder. This is just a solid blue. It's quite a big granule, that one is. I've got another blue, which is a slightly different colour. That's a very fine one. And I have got a little bit of, this is a new one I've got, it's called Mojito, and it's like it's got green and gold. It looks like it's going to make it look a bit like an old patina look, and also got a black glitzy one that's embossing powder. So let's see how we go. And that's a Sea of Tranquility one, and so that's another green. But yeah, so we've covered it with the Versamark, and my first coat is going to be with this Beautiful. It's a translucent powder, and so that's what gives this sort of see-through look on the edge. It's not a solid base. Entirely up to you what you use, of course, but this is a translucent powder that I'm just going to sprinkle a little on and see where we go from here. So knock it off. And so I haven't covered it fully, I've just sprinkled some on. I'm going to have to put these back in between each one, so just bear with me. And let's heat that up. So get your heat gun really nice and hot. Give it 20-30 seconds so that it's got a good heat, and then it will melt the embossing powder as soon as you put it on. That's really nice now. So we're just going to wait until you can see it starting to melt. There we are. I don't know if you can see, but you can now see the granules are now going into like a very shiny mixture of melted embossing powder. So that's melted, and then while that's hot, while that is hot, I'm just going to tap on a little bit more. Just in the centre. And knock that about, so a little bit has come off, a little bit has stayed on. And then we'll melt that one. So as long as you do it while the previous layer is still really hot, whatever you stick on top of it will, whatever you sprinkle on top will stick to it, so you don't have to keep doing the Versamark in between. But obviously if you let it go too cool, you do have to, because you need something that's going to keep the stick there. And so I'm just going to waft a little bit more, because I think I'd like just a little thin covering over those white bits that I've missed there. And yeah, see, that's all stuck, and there's a little bit coming off there. So we're starting to get a good covering. Hopefully you can see that there, that it's now starting to get some depth of colour into it. And so let's just put my lid on there, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of this Sea of Tranquility and see what comes out of this, and then we'll add some of the blue in. So I'm just going to pinch this. Oh, left it too long. So now we just have to put some embossing powder, embossing ink on there. So I'm just going to dab it in places. I'm not going to cover the whole thing this time. So I've just put little taps in the middle, so that we can, and we might just get a little spatula if I can reach it. And then you can knock that so that it picks up on anywhere that you've tap it up. It'll pick up anywhere that you've popped your embossing ink. Make sure you put your lids back on again, because you don't want the heat and the air to blow it everywhere. Oh, that's pretty. That's got some silvery. I think perhaps that's better than the one with the gold in it. So I think I'm going to get that mojito out of the way. So each time you melt another layer, it melts the layer underneath, and then it all the layers then sink into each other, and so that you can see, I can see, I don't know if you can see, but I can see the last bits I've just put on there, the darker colours, have actually sunk into the surface. They're not right the way on the top, so it looks like we're starting to build up a few layers now. So let's put a little bit of blue on. So again, because I've spoken to the camera, I've left it a bit too late, and so I'm just going to have to pop some more dabs of this on. I'll have to shut up talking, I think, and give myself a chance. So let's use a bit of this Don't know what this is going to turn out like this time, but we'll see. Just give it a tiny little sprinkle. You don't want to. You can always put more on. If you put too much on to start with and you don't like it, or it gets clumpy, then obviously you can't do anything about it. So it's better to put just a little tap on and move it about where you want it, and then layer it up so that you can get some nice finer layers where it's not left in. I don't like it when it's in big solid lumps, if you know what I mean. So let's do the next one. So see how the blue melts into the green, and see what that looks like. So that's what that's looking like now. That's the blue sunk right down into the bottom there. You can see it's gone really quite deep. It's not bad, not bad. I think I'll put. Whoop. That wasn't good, was it? So I think I'll put a little bit more of this on, but not quite that much. Don't want quite that much, Suzanne. Just tap it around so that it goes all over the shape, whatever shape you're making. Put my lid on. Just get the heat going on again. There's another little layer, and so let's try. I think we'll put a little bit of glitter on this time with it. So, oh, that's a little bit needs melting in the middle there. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of blue glitter. Woo! And then on top of that we'll put a little bit of clear, I think, just to help seal that in. Hopefully that was hot enough to keep some of that. Still feels very hot in my hand. I'm going to tip that in the lid because that's clear and blue, and I don't want that back in the clear pot. Leave me a bit of paper back. that's what we've got now. So you can see that glitter is now within that embossing powder. I don't know how well you can see the shine, whether you can see that shine there, not sure. Right, so that's dry, left that to dry. I'm going to have to shut up, stop talking, Suzanne. I think I'm going to give it a whole coat of, another coat of Beautiful. I'll tip on this to start off with, get rid of that little bit of glitter. Right, oh, don't do that. Right, so sprinkle a little bit of this on. Bring it down there a bit more. And I'm going to mix in with that. A little bit of this is space dust, so it's got some bits of blue and purple in it. This is what is on the edge here, this purpley bluey bit there. So let's just see if I can get a little bit of this to give it a bit of depth. Sprinkling through. I think I'm being a bit braver than I was when I did the last one. Putting more on. Right. See if I can shift some of that about. Right, that's stuck. I think we've still got some sticky, and so let's just put another little bit around the edges and tap that in. And then I'm going to tip this back on. Right, let's see what's going to happen to this one. Ooh, purples are coming out now. Oh, look at that. Ooh, like that. I think I'm going to put a bit more blue in here now. Be very brave and try some blue in the middle. This is a very fine one this time, so hopefully that will take a bit more colour. And that should have stuck to the heat, because this is quite hot. Yeah. So while you're heating the layers, do take your time. I suppose I'm about 3 inches away from it. And do take your time to, because each time you melt the top layer, you really need to be heating up the underneath layers as well. And so just take your time to make sure that it all melts so it starts sinking into each other. So that's that one. Gosh, liking that now. Ooh, liking that. Might just put a little bit of this is, what's this? Brilliant Snow Cap glitter embossing powder. So I might just put some of that. Excuse me if you can hear that noise, that's my dog dreaming. Having a nice run somewhere. Ooh, look at that. That's stuck nicely in the middle there. Oh, I can see it all moving about with the heat now. It's really starting to get deep. God, look at that. Whoa, that is looking nice. What do we need? Something else in the middle there. What do we need in the middle there? Might just use another little bit of this. Just to cover up that white. That's got a bit too white. And I think I'm also going to drop a little bit more blue in there. And see what... Put a bit blue around the edges, shall we? So you can see it's just a matter of building your layers up and making whatever pattern you really want yourself. And so just tap it about again, get it to spread. Pop that in the leaves. There's a mixture of greens and blues there now. And so here we go again. And you will see it heating up. I don't think you'll see it in the camera now, but I think, well, I know when you're doing it close up, you will actually see the whole layers of the embossing now starting to melt, and it starts to move around a bit like when you're pouring acrylic inks. You start to see it all whirling in together with each other. Hopefully you can see how beautiful that is looking. Yeah, I really love that, really do. I think I might just put a tap more blue glitter in the middle there, and oh, I'll probably let it go too cold now. And then we might be ready to put some coats of clear. I just want to, oh, not that much, not in a lump anyway, Suzanne. Oh, come on, I don't want that like that. Oh well, I hope it sinks. You'll see, I'm going to try and get it out and sprinkle it, I think, rather than tapping it. because I wanted it a little bit wider than that. Once I've melted this, I'm going to tip this bit on, I think. Excuse me. I'm just going to put a little bit of Beautiful in there. So there's some green and blue together. Just move that. Quickly tip this on. And the reason why you can use this is just ordinary glitter, is because you've got all those layers of embossing powder that have melted, and every time you put something on top of it, it just is going to sink into it, and so the glitter just sinks into the embossing powders, the melts and embossing powders. Excuse me while I just have a sip. Sorry about that. And so, two totally different colours. This one was based on greens. This one is that Beautiful with lots of different blues and some purples and grey and some silvery white. And so now I think we need to do the layers of clear to build up this like resin on the top. And so I'm just going to clear my piece of paper and give my desk a little wipe. If any of you are wondering, these glass mats are glass craft mats are heat proof, and so you can put your heat gun on them and it's not going to crack your glass, so don't worry about that because this is nice and warm. Right, so do we think we need anything else on there? I think we've got, I actually really quite like it. So right, so what have we got here? I've got some clear, and this is clear as well, so we're going to use both of these. I think I'll just shift these out of the way so that they don't get right, so we're going to do a full cover with embossing ink because we want to cover absolutely every millimetre now with the clear to build up the resin look. We're going to use this one, aren't we? So you want a nice thick coating right the way up to the edges. So I've tipped all of what I've got out on there, and then just shake it around nicely so that you can make sure that everywhere gets covered. And just a little light tap. You don't want to knock too much off, you just don't want it to fly up in the air when you put the heat on it. I think I've got a bit of silver something in there. It's a bit of silver in there. Looks like two big silver pieces of glitter. So get your gun really hot again so that it gets a good melt. Oh, they're flown away. So you can see the clear embossing powder glittering away as you go round it, and follow the shine. And just take your time and melt it all over. And now this will start to build up the curve on the edges. So while that's hot, shh, be quiet, Suzanne, and sprinkle some more embossing powder. Excuse my dogs. I think there's a delivery. Whoa, look at this. Let's do another one. This is 4. Can't remember where I've got up to now. Tip that all back in the middle and see if I can get some up the top here. Look at that. Came through the hole. Wow, I love that. Ooh. Right, I think I'm going to leave that to dry now because it's looking really, really thick. I think that was 5 layers I did. I'll have to count back when I edit the video and have a look and see how many layers I actually did. But there we are. I'm going to pick it up in a second, but I don't really want to until it's just set because I don't want to get my fingers into it. That's now starting to set. Yeah, there we are. Can you see how brilliant, how glossy and thick that looks? I hope you can. I hope you can see somehow in the light how thick it looks, like resin. Anyway, I'll do some close-ups of it and put them on after this little bit of video finishes, and so that you can see you know, how, if I can get it to see how actually thick it does look. Brilliant. Anyway, I don't know how long that's taken us, probably about 15 or 20 minutes, and we've got something that ends up looking like that. And so let's just get a nice piece of clean paper, and there we are. That's what we've made today, and this is the one that I had on my blog. That was the reason why somebody asked if I would show the actual process. And so now you can decorate this with however you choose. I think it looks beautiful like that, but with some other bits and pieces on the top. This is a little stencil that I've used some texture paste to do a little stencil around the bottom. I think that stencil fits in there beautifully, so I might do that again and see what other words. And I've done a dragonfly, I've done a butterfly. I don't know if I've got anything else like that or that I could make. Oh, bumblebee, I could, if it needed to be a bit more yellowy, I think, for a bumblebee. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to put on it, but I will find something, and then I will let you see the actual completed article. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If there's anything, excuse me, there's somebody at the door now. Right, so I'll pop back in a second. So that was a false alarm. I don't know what they were barking at, but there was nobody at the door, as I thought. But anyway, yeah, so once you've finished it off, just now it's cooled off, just give it a little bit of a rub, just make sure it's really smooth. If there's any rough patches, I can't feel any on mine, but if there's any little rough patches, it means that the top surface hasn't quite melted, and you might want to pop your heat gun on it again. But anyway, I will let you know how it finishes off, and if there's anybody who would like me to do any other techniques or show you anything else that I've done on my blog, how I've done it, if I haven't already put up a tutorial for it, then please do ask. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate your support. If you would click a like and let me know that you've watched, maybe leave me a comment, or even follow me if you've really liked what you've seen today. Anyway, I'm off now, and I will see you again in the next video. So take care until next time. Bye bye.